Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to my channel. Before you start with my story, remember don't be a fool, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, it's cool.
The horrific kidnapping and murder of Denise Amber Lee. Denise and Nathan's relationship began in their senior year of high school, where they were an unlikely pair, she being a math-minded bookworm and he being a social, football-playing jock. Despite their differences, they fell in love and soon got married. They started a family and settled in Northport, Florida, where Nathan worked hard to support them by holding multiple jobs. Despite the financial struggles, the Lees were content and focused on raising their two young sons and building a life together. On their first Valentine's Day as a married couple, Nathan gifted Denise a heart-shaped ring that she cherished and wore every day until January 17, 2008. On Thursday, January 17, 2008, 21-year-old Denise Amber Lee was at home taking care of their two children, 2-year-old Noah and 6-month-old Adam, while Nathan was at work. It was a seemingly normal day for the couple. The morning of January 17 started like any other for Denise and Nathan Lee. Nathan left for work early while Denise and their two young sons, Noah and Ethan, were still asleep. But as the day progressed, something sinister began to unfold. At 11:09 a.m. on January 17, Nathan called Denise during his lunch break to check in on her. They chatted briefly about the weather, with Denise mentioning that the house felt stuffy. Nathan suggested that she open the windows to let some fresh air in, to which Denise replied that she had already done so. When he returned home at 3:30 p.m., Denise was nowhere to be found. The house was locked and there were no signs of struggle or forced entry. The boys were alone in the house, unharmed but confused. Nathan immediately contacted the police, but no trace of Denise was ever found. As the investigation continued, the Lee family was left to grapple with the sudden and mysterious disappearance of their beloved wife and mother. As the search for Denise intensified, tensions ran high as the clock ticked on. Every passing moment felt like an eternity as the police scoured the streets for any sign of her. But just as hope began to fade, a breakthrough came in the form of a mysterious 911 call. A woman's voice, filled with fear and urgency, whispered into the operator's ear. The caller was not speaking directly to the operator, but it sounded like she was talking to a man. The police were on high alert, every second counted as they raced to trace the call and uncover the identity of the mysterious caller. Was it Denise? Was she in danger? The stakes were higher than ever as the investigation reached a fever pitch. The fate of Denise, and the safety of the community, hung in the balance.
Hello? I just want to see my family. Hello? Hello? Please, I just want to see my family again. Hello? Please let me go. Please let me go. I just want to see my family again. Okay. Hello? I'm sorry. Please let me go. Hello? I'm sorry. Please let me go. Where are you doing to? I don't want to do that. Please let me go. Hello? Please let me go, God, please. Oh, yeah, what? Hello? Help me. What's the address? What's the address that you're at? Hello? What is the address that you're at? Hello, ma'am? Where are we going? I gotta go up to the mountain now. Up and around where? Well, you need to get exactly where 4 streets and all 5 streets over from your house. I couldn't tell everywhere. What's your name, ma'am? Hello? Please. What's your name? Please, my name is Denise. I'm married to a beautiful husband, and I just want to see my kids again. Your name's Denise? I'm sorry. Are you on I-75? Where are we? Please. Please. Where are you at? Can you tell if you're on I-75? I don't know where your phone is. I'm sorry. Can you just tell me where we are? Are you blindfolded if you don't press the button? I don't have your phone. Please, God. I don't have it. I'm sorry.
Do you know this guy?
I don't know where your phone is. I'm sorry.
Denise, do you know this guy? She might have the phone laid down and not hear a thing I'm saying, too. He keeps saying on the phone.
I don't know where it is. Maybe if I could see it, I'll find it. No, sir.
Denise?
What's the story?
How long have you been gone from your house? How long? Do you know how long you've been gone from your house? What's your last name?
Lee.
Lee?
Yeah.
Do you know what street? Your name's Denise Lee? Can you tell at all what street you're on?
No.
Do you know this guy that's with you?
No.
You don't know him from anywhere?
No, please. Oh, God, help me.
What's your address? What's your home address, do you know?
I don't know. Please take me to my house. Please take me home. Oh, my God, please.
Can you see or do you have a blindfold on?
I can't see. Where are we?
Can they turn off the radio or turn it down?
I can't hear you. It's too loud. Where are we? Are you going to help me? Are you going to let me out now? Help me.
As the police raced against time to locate Denise, every lead seemed to lead to a dead end. But then, a breakthrough, a 911 call from Denise herself, her voice trembling with fear as she begged for help. She had managed to give a name, Michael King, an unemployed plumber. The clock was ticking as the police frantically searched for King's whereabouts, desperate to rescue Denise before it was too late. But as they closed in on the kidnapper, they knew that every second counted in this life and death race against time. The hunt was on for the green Camaro and the kidnapper, Michael King. With every passing moment, the stakes grew higher as Denise's life hung in the balance. The police searched tirelessly, scouring every street and alley, leaving no stone unturned in their hunt for the kidnapper and his captive. The tension was palpable as the clock ticked on, and the fate of Denise remained unknown. Finally, a breakthrough. At 6:23 p.m., a 17-year-old girl, Sabrina Muxlow, called 911. Sabrina told the operators that her father saw a girl tied up and that she came out of the car and my dad's cousin went and put her back in the car when she got out. She told them that the car the girl was in was a green Camaro. Sabrina was alarmed when her father, Harold Muxlow, recounted to her an unexpected encounter with his cousin, Michael King, at their home between 5:30 and 6 p.m. Michael had requested a flashlight, gas can, and shovel from Harold, claiming he needed them for a lawnmower issue in his front yard, but something about the situation seemed off to Harold. And Sabrina knew she needed to act fast and call the authorities. Harold gave the items that Michael was looking for to him, but as Harold walked back towards the house, he heard a woman shout,
"Call the cops."
Harold walked back down the driveway to Michael. He asked Michael what was going on. Michael said, "Nothing, don't worry about it." As Harold turned away from Michael, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. He decided to take a second glance and was horrified by what he saw. Michael was frantically pushing down the head of a person, their shoulder-length hair visible, in the back seat of his green Camaro. The person's knee rose up in resistance, but to no avail. Michael quickly jumped into the driver's seat and sped away, leaving Harold standing there in shock. Jane was stopped at a traffic light on Highway 41 when she heard someone screaming. She described the scream as, "It was a very high-pitched scream, and it was unlike any type of scream I'd ever heard in my entire life." Harold saw Michael acting suspiciously in his car, pushing down the head of someone with shoulder-length hair in the back seat. Despite Michael's assurance that everything was fine, Harold couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. He decided to investigate further and drove to Michael's house, but found no lawnmower and no sign of Michael. Growing increasingly concerned, Harold made an anonymous 911 call, providing a description of Michael's vehicle and warning that there may be a person being held against their will inside. His daughter Sabrina, overhearing the conversation, immediately followed suit and placed her own 911 call. Minutes later, another 911 call was received from a worried Jane Kowalski. The hunt for Denise was on and the race against time had begun. Jane Kowalski was on the phone with her sister when she heard screams and loud noises coming from the car next to her. At first, she thought it was a child, but when she looked over, she saw a man pushing something down in the back seat. As she watched, a hand came up from the back seat and began slapping loudly on the window. Terrified, Jane decided to follow the car in hopes of getting the license plate number. She tried to keep pace with the vehicle, but the driver kept changing lanes, making it difficult for her to keep up. Eventually, she called 911 and reported the strange behavior and screams she had witnessed. The Camaro was the last place Denise Lee was seen alive. Jane told the operator that she could see the driver of the Camaro changing lanes and making a left turn onto Toledo Blade Boulevard, heading toward Interstate 75. Jane could not follow him due to the traffic. As Jane made her call to 911, law enforcement was already in the area searching for the green Camaro. Deputies on foot, in patrol cars, and even a helicopter were on the hunt for the suspect car. However, due to an unfortunate communication error, the crucial details provided by Jane in her 911 call were not relayed to the officers in the field. But luck was on their side, as later that evening, Deputy Christian Weimer and State Trooper Edward Pope were positioned on Toledo Blade Boulevard near the I-75. They had been provided with a detailed description of the Camaro and its license plate number. At around 9:10 p.m., their suspicions were confirmed as the Camaro drove by, and they quickly gave chase, forcing the car to pull over. As the search for Denise continued, the community was on high alert. Rumors and theories circulated, but there was still no sign of her. Michael's arrest only fueled the fire as the police investigation delved deeper into his past, uncovering a dark history of violence and manipulation. The clock was ticking and tensions were high as the search for Denise grew more desperate with each passing day. Would they find her alive, or was it already too late? Only time would tell in this thrilling and heart-wrenching case. But Denise was not in the car. Michael was charged with kidnapping, but he refused to give any information about Denise or where she was to the police. He denied being involved. Police continued to search for Denise with a growing sense of urgency and dread. 2 days after Michael's arrest, a member of the search party stumbled upon an eerie patch of land near Plantation Boulevard in Northport where the earth appeared to have been disturbed. At a depth of 3 feet 1 inch, they discovered the gruesome remains of Denise Lee. Her body was lying on its side in a fetal position, stripped of clothing. Denise had been brutally shot to death less than 3 miles away from where Jane made the last desperate 911 call. The discovery of her body sent shockwaves through the community and intensified the determination of the police to bring her killer to justice. The gruesome discovery of Denise's lifeless body sent shockwaves through the community, as the search for the missing woman had been ongoing for days. The brutal, execution-style murder was a devastating blow to her loved ones, and the small town of Northport was left reeling in the wake of this heinous crime. The forensic investigation revealed the gruesome and violent nature of Denise's death, leaving no doubt that the perpetrator was a cold-blooded killer. The medical examiner determined that Denise died from a single gunshot wound to the head. The wound was consistent with the gun having been placed against Denise's head at the time it was fired. The entrance wound was to the right of Denise's right eyebrow. The medical examiner believed that when the gun was discharged, Denise's eye exploded. There was aspirated blood in Denise's lungs, which indicated that Denise continued to breathe for a period of time after the wound was inflicted. The search for justice for Denise and her family was now more urgent than ever. There were bruises on Denise's wrists. The bruises were in the same location on each wrist, and the medical examiner concluded they may have been caused by ligatures and were consistent with defensive injuries. The medical examiner noted that Denise had vaginal bruising and anal tearing, both of which were caused by insertion trauma. Denise was raped before she was shot dead. Michael was charged with first-degree murder. Michael pleaded not guilty. The prosecution's case was further strengthened by the physical evidence found at the crime scene, including the bullet that matched the gun found in Michael's possession, and the shovel and gas can that were linked to him. Additionally, cell phone records and surveillance footage placed Michael in the vicinity of Denise's home and the location where her body was found. All of this, combined with the powerful testimony of witnesses and experts, painted a clear and compelling picture of Michael's guilt. The prosecution presented a strong case against Michael, including multiple eyewitnesses who saw him on the day of Denise's disappearance, 911 calls, and DNA evidence linking him to the crime. Denise's ring and strands of her hair found in the Camaro and her palm print on the car's window also provided crucial evidence. The defense argued that someone else could have fired the fatal shot, but the jury ultimately found Michael guilty of first-degree murder, involuntary sexual battery, and kidnapping. Despite his appeals, Michael's sentence of death was upheld. The Denise Amber Lee Foundation. The tragic death of Denise Lee sparked a nationwide push for change in the way 911 calls are handled. Her husband Nathan, filled with grief and determination, founded the Denise Amber Lee Foundation in her memory. The foundation works to improve 911 operator training and raise public awareness about the importance of quick and efficient emergency response. Denise's father, a detective himself, was instrumental in getting the Denise Amber Lee Act passed by the Florida legislature. This law provides for voluntary training for 911 operators to ensure that they are better equipped to handle emergency situations. Despite Denise's heroic efforts to save herself, the failures of the 911 operators that day ultimately led to her death. Her story touched the hearts of many and served as a powerful reminder of the importance of quick and efficient emergency response. The foundation and the act, named after Denise, aims to make sure that no other families have to suffer the same fate as Denise's. Thanks for watching my video, hoped you enjoyed it. See you in the next episode.